And we are live. How you doing, everybody? That's Patrick Hennessy. This is WardyNYM, and we're coming at you live with the latest edition of the Bridging the Gap podcast. It's been a long time since our last episode. A lot has happened in both Mets and Yanks land since then. In case this is your first time watching, what we do is break down and really summarize all the latest in New York baseball from a Mets fan perspective, a Yanks fan perspective, and we're also going to talk about baseball as a whole today, not just these specific teams, as there's a lot of controversy in baseball right now. There's a starting pitching injury epidemic to get into. Why exactly is this happening? Could that be changing? Jackson Holliday, MLB's top prospect, made his debut today too, so we'll talk briefly about that later on in the show. And the debut was yesterday, not today. Pardon me on that one. But we're going to be headlining, yes, the Mets taking 2 out of 3 against the Hotlanta Braves in Hotlanta. You guys know I'm so juiced up about that one. Pat is off to probably the best start that one could hope for as a Yanks fan with Juan Soto, doing everything imaginable, all except for one big bopper in that lineup that we're going to emphasize quite a bit in this show. So a lot to get into on this one. We appreciate everyone's patience, people watching live. We meant to start the show earlier. Appreciate it as always, though. I see Kevin, I see PB, I see Ryan, great members here in the live chat. People watching on replay, appreciate you all as well, as we're going to break down these topics one by one. But more than anything, before we do a deep dive on all this, my man Pat, long time no see. How you doing?
Hey, Wardy, long time no see. Vibes are high right now.
Vibes are really high right now.
Even though, you kind of, you did like your little fashionably late kind of thing, dude. This is the most anticipated I've been to sit down and have a conversation with you probably in about 3 years, which is really sick. I'm excited because, last time we spoke, it was in like the trenches of spring training, which is kind of the most boring time of the baseball season.
It's like the first week, awesome. As soon as you're done, unless you're like a sicko like me at times that wants to watch certain prospects, you're like, I'm over it. I'm done. Give me the season.
Dude, and right now, I think the stage that we're in, it's like, this is by far, besides like the last week of the season when teams are contending for playoffs and the playoffs, this is the most exciting time of the year because you have so many teams that aren't going to be in it at the end of the season, like the Mets, that kind of have some sort of faith right now that they're going to be good.
Of course, I had to hear that kind of comment from you. Speaking of the Mets, I mean, we're going to dive right in, Pat. I mean, look, the Mets started their homestand 1-5. They're now 2 games below 500. They've taken their past 2 series. So before I even share my initial input on this from the Met fan perspective on absolutely stomping on the Braves in 2 games out of 3, from a Yanks fan perspective, the outside looking in, how do you feel about the start of the Mets season with how the homestand went to now how they took care of Hotlanta?
This might surprise you, but I'm going to sit here and say I'm a little impressed, okay? Because through that first, 6 games of the season?
Gave me kicking my feet, feeling like a little girl. That's crazy.
Dude, like, I got to give credit where credit's due, right? Like, you start the season 1-5 it was, right? The Mets look like the worst team in baseball by far. And then to kind of go on the road and rebound a little bit. Now they've won, 4 of their last 5 games, something like that?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, but just to kind of, like, use whatever momentum they didn't have and turn nothing into something. Got to take my hat off to them. And also Lindor's also not really good to start the year either.
No, he's been horrendous. He has actually, it's so funny you mention him because we didn't pre-prep to have like him as part of an individual segment, but he has far and away been the Mets' worst hitter of their core right now. He's the one guy that has yet to really kind of snap out of it for more than a game. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, and that's why I think it's a little bit like tip my hat to them because you have the best hitter on your team. Arguably, I'd probably put Lindor over Alonso in the grand scheme of things. I guess you could interchange it however you want. But still, to see what the Mets have been doing even without Lindor, my hat goes off to them. They're obviously not going to be a World Series team this year. Sorry, Wardy.
We'll see.
To kind of
we'll see
them bounce back the way that they did. And also, bro, they don't even have JD Martinez yet, which is kind of crazy because last time we spoke, he wasn't even a Met. And now to kind of have that addition, when is he even supposed to be joining the team? Because that's going to be huge.
That's a great question. And the answer to that is it's up in the air right now. He was the initial goings was, okay, he could be with the Mets as soon as April 7th. Then it was pushed a little bit. Then we found out he got a cortisone shot in his back because he's 36. He's had back issues for the past at least 3-4 years. So he's going to be on the shelf for a little bit. I'd imagine the soonest he'll be in the Mets lineup is sometime over the next week to 10 days. That's really the earliest we're looking right now, because one thing that happened was last year when he was with the Dodgers, he got a cortisone shot for his back ailment. And in years prior, he would try to just play through it, but it definitely impacted his play. Like, I don't know if you remember him with Boston in 2022, but that was like far and away his worst offensive season over the past decade for the most part. 2023 Dodgers gets a little shot. He's feeling electric all season long. So we're hoping for that magic again with him. But yeah, we're still a week out or so from JD Martinez actually impacting this lineup. And again, it shows you the type of start that they've been having, how impressive it is, all things considered. After,
Are you surprised?
I'm surprised in the sense of how they started their first 6 games, the home opener, to go 1-5, look lifeless, lose games in the most Metsian fashion possible, like just having everything go wrong. They didn't have defense on their side. They certainly didn't have offense on their side. And when they did have pitching, it just wasn't properly utilized. To now you go in Cincy, you win 2 out of 3 there against a young, exciting Reds team, which should not be denounced. And then you go into Hot Atlanta against the Atlanta Braves. And Mets fans, this is why I want you to stand up, everyone in the chat right now. I don't care that it's technically not a series victory because there was supposed to be 4 games. It was put down to 3 because there was a rain yesterday, so they pushed it to the final series of the season between the two teams. But we won 2 out of 3. And listen to this. Just listen to this quick game breakdown by breakdown here. Game 1, Julio Teheran's pitching for the Mets, right? Do you remember him? You know, he's a guy that was with the Atlanta Braves.
I forgot he was alive, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You don't really know him too well. He was with the Baltimore Orioles this spring, opted out of his deal because he didn't make the roster. The Mets picked him up after Tyler McGill went down with injury. Julio faces off against his former team. First 2 innings looks great, gets his tits lit in the 3rd inning, and just like that, the Mets somehow, some way, managed to rally back after having no pitching whatsoever early on and win by a final score of 8-7 in what was a whirlwind of a ball game. Game 2, Adrian Hauser's on the bump for us. You know, really a back-end guy at his absolute best for a good team. And he gave up 5 runs over 5 innings. The Mets were losing 6-0 halfway through the ball game, and they only lost by 1 run, 6-5. Just fell short of their rally. Then today, on the bump, we have ourselves Jose Quintana facing off against, Winans for the Braves, who is not really a nobody for them. Exactly. You don't even know him. Alan Winans, potato, and the Mets absolutely torch on him early and often. They won by a final score of 16-4 today, including a grand slam off of Luis Gourmet, the former Met. He was pitching in the 9th. You saw that? Just electric scenes in Hotland. The first time you could hear a pin drop there. That was his Braves debut as a player. His Braves debut was to pitch in the 9th against his former team, and he gives up a grand slam to Tyrone Taylor. I mean, that was just absolutely electric. So, yes.
I don't want to burst your bubble because I know, like, oh, it's like so cool. You walk in a hot land and you take 2 out of 3, but like, dude, let's just be transparent here. That's not who the Mets are. The Mets aren't a team that's better. That's going to be better than the Braves this year. And I think also, I at the same time, I don't think they are that team that started off 1-5. I think if you examine the trajectory of the Mets for the rest of the 2024 season, I think they're somewhere they land somewhere in the middle of that, right? They're not the worst team in baseball, but also they're not better than the Atlanta Braves either. So I think you kind of, if I'm looking deep into it right now and I had to give you a win projection for the New York Mets this year, I'm looking at a team that's probably going to go like 82-80.
So that's where a lot of fans actually were kind of in that realm heading into the season. So you're pretty much in line with people think they'll be around a 500 club, potentially a little bit higher than that. I have optimism that they can find themselves in the 85 to 87 range as long as they're buyers by the trade deadline. But again, they got to make sure they're buyers. They got to make sure that they're really... I do think that they will be, because I don't think that they're going to be far enough out of it for David Stearns to put the hammer down and say, okay, we should just go full sell on all of our rentals. I think that they're going to kind of do a mix, parting ways with some guys, including potentially Harrison Bader, who, was much better today than yesterday. I'm sure you saw that, the Harrison Bader news. Harrison had 3 runs scored today, 2 for 5. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, rather, I don't remember when it was, when the Mets lost the 1 game in Atlanta, Bader, for a second time this series, and you saw it, Pat, decided to round first on a clear deep single. The guy is not Usain Bolt. He is not Corbin Carroll. He is not the speed demon he thinks he is. Oh, I might as well have just said the fact that I said Corbin Carroll, the lookalike over here.
Funny,
but
bro.
Bader, again, out by a mile at second base. That's frustrating. And I don't know, is that something he did with the Yanks? Not to get on a tangent, did that happen, or is this just now a Mets thing?
You know, I couldn't really tell you because he was probably healthy on the field with the Yankees for all but 20 games. And 4 of those games were playoff games where he just hit a home run every single at bat. So I really couldn't tell you. But welcome to the Harrison Bader experience, bro. I'm actually shocked he's still healthy this far through the season. Like you should be like bowing down to him at this point just for the health that we've seen from him.
I know the health has certainly been a factor for him in recent years, especially during his time with you. It's funny. It's like he was injury riddled. We saw with you guys last year before he got traded to the Reds. He is your biggest playoff hero, I feel like, of your entire lifetime, at least the past decade.
What?
I mean, Harrison Bader, just a couple years ago, there
was
no
bro,
one else that performed.
Raul doesn't exist, and Didi Gregorius doesn't exist. Harrison Bader.
You watched like 4 games of each of them. I don't even want to hear it.
What?
I don't want to hear it. You're like, how old were you? How old are you when those things were happening?
I was 12 when Raul Ibanez happened. I was 17 when Didi hit the home run in the wild card game.
You sure you weren't 12 there?
9 in 2009 when the Yankees won the World Series and the greatest shortstop / third baseman of all time, Alex Rodriguez, led them on an absolute run. And CC Sabathia was.
Did you see what that bum? Did you see what that bum A-Rod is doing right now?
What do you mean that?
Oh, I'm sorry, not doing what he would have done if he bought the Minnesota Timberwolves. Did you see that?
Okay, first of all, let's
No.
Rewind.
We know he's a bum. It's okay. There's nothing to rewind. It's okay.
He's not.
It's okay.
He's one of the greatest baseball players of all time, and he's one of the greatest businessmen of all time.
Oh, yes, of course. So savvy with his steroid decision making. Love it. Yes.
Oh, because you've never taken steroids before.
Not like A-Rod. No, I'm happy to say.
So you're admitting you've taken steroids?
No, I haven't taken steroids before. Okay. What is there?
We all have.
What is there to like? What? Enlighten me. You want me to show off everything right now?
Dude. Have you never cheated on a test?
Pat, stop. We're getting on a tangent here. We're getting on a tangent.
No,
I know what you're trying to say.
Yes or no?
Pat.
Answer the question.
Pat.
Answer the question.
Shush.
Answer it.
Shush. Pat, we're live. This isn't pre-recorded. I can't cut this afterwards. All right? It's okay. A-Rod might not be bummed to you. I will always have a certain feeling about A-Rod. And it's more so because of the rooted connection when he tried to buy the Mets and he wanted to make it into more of a circus than what it is. He wanted to bring in, Ben Affleck's girl and J-Lo when they were still together for the 5 minutes that they were in ownership. And then they broke up like a month or 2 after Steve Cohen bought the team. So then now, when he tried pushing to buy the Timberwolves, especially, if he got majority ownership there, they were going to cut things back entirely on their spending. Like, he's trying to run the ship like the Miami Marlins under Peter Bendix right now, just do a complete overhaul when it isn't justified. But I'm getting on a massive tangent here right now. I apologize. What were we taking a step back? Where were we at in the conversation? Do you have any recollection?
We were talking about Harrison Bader.
We were talking about Harrison Bader, yes. So Harrison Bader, aside from his silliness rounding first, he's been okay. His defense has been good, not complaining there. But the Mets as a whole, though, I would say, have surprised me in both ways from the original question. They've surprised me in their underwhelming start to the magnitude that it was. Truly, like the worst start in a first 6-game season I've witnessed as a fan. So now the past 2 series on the road, this Mets team is just proving to me that as long as they start to get some consistency, get some gelling together, get some confidence up, they're going to be a really fun, electric team this year with a lack of expectations. And my question to you now, you look at the Yanks and the great start that they've had right now. They're the first team to 10 wins this season. Juan Soto, of course, has been leading the way. Anthony Volpe has been leading the way too. Aaron Judge, not so much. I got to ask from, your point of view, with the Yanks startup as well, how much of this would you say was expected versus what you're actually getting? What has been the biggest surprise and what has been the biggest disappointment for you so far through the first 10 plus games of the season?
Yes, Wardy. Well, first of all, thank you for bringing that up because as of right now, the New York Yankees are far and away the best team in Major League Baseball.
I know. It feels like every year we have the graphics of like they're the first to 10, they're the first to 50, and then they're the first round exit. It's awesome. It just it trends in that direction every single time.
Yeah.
And here's the thing though, like the same way that you can meme about me with like a lot of Mets injuries and stuff, this is what I can meme about you with because truly Yanks have been fantastic in regular seasons for the vast majority of my lifetime, I feel like, but it's been this constant story after the fact. So go on to what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah, but we'll see. Like October's a long way away, and this is a different team. Because I'll tell you what, first of all, to answer the first part of your question, I'm not surprised in the slightest. We came into the season, I warned you, bro. I warned everybody. The Yankees were built different this year. They are built different this year. This is a team that isn't your typical New York Yankees that's gonna have that buttoned up mentality and play very boring baseball. This is a Yankees team where you look at guys like Juan Soto changing the entire Yankees lineup. Just the approach that everybody has. You kind of look up and down that order, and just having Soto in there makes it feel so much deeper. And the at bats that he's drawing out. Don't get me wrong. I knew when the Yankees acquired Soto the type of player he was and the talent that he provides to every single at bat. But now being able to watch him on a daily basis and watching every single Juan Soto at bat, it's cinema, bro. Like being able to see his amazing eye and just all these plate appearances, it's great. And then also kind of
This is
seeing
why
that,
us Mets fans have been drooling over him since he made his debut in DC. I
yeah,
hope you know
and you
that.
still think
This
he's
is
coming
where
there.
it stems from because he
No,
is
I
a
know.
dog. We love him. Yes.
No, I didn't have the luxury of being able to watch him play my team 30 times a year like you guys did,
Right.
But and then you kind of see how that impacts other guys in the lineup. You look at Oswaldo Cabrera, who's off to a great start so far this season. Hasn't really played that much because the Yankees don't like him against lefties, but still he credited Juan Soto a bunch for his adjustments at the plate. You look at a guy like Anthony Volpe, who has taken the league by storm, one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball so far this year, and he
Yeah,
credits
the
Soto.
Anthony Volpe.
Yeah, no, shout out Anthony Volpe, bro. First of all, I'm tired of all this stigma. Oh, Pat hates Volpe. Pat hates Volpe. I have no problems with the dude, bro.
Pat, the reason why we're doing the show now, not like 2 weeks ago, is because of your Anthony Volpe debacle. Do you got anything to say? Are there apologies in order? Like, is this
All right.
do you have it scripted? Like, don't get me wrong. I think Yanks fans were as soft as one can be in their reactions. The best part too, just for some context here, Pat has a little bit of a history with Anthony Volpe. It's kind of a one-sided affair in the sense of like, who cares? But he has history with Anthony Volpe on social media. And a lot of fans didn't take a liking to Pat when it comes to this at all. And it was to the point where these Yanks fans were so blind that we were like unintentionally almost doing some promo for the pod where I was like, Pat, you're the worst. Yanks fans hate you. Over
Your
a
tweet got
thousand,
like 1,000 likes.
over a
Yeah.
1,000 likes on my tweet replying to you. People thinking like I don't like you. People like, oh, who's this bum Patrick Hennessy? Oh yeah, Wardy's right. Like, please fill us in a little bit. You don't have to give it step by step. Just give a brief summary on what this debacle's about and where we're at now.
Okay, so first of all, brief summary. I asked him to sign my tweet that I made. That was like unpopular opinion. Anthony Volpe smiling after he first home run, Yankees lost, whatever. I don't like it. First of all, I stand by that take. That's a take that I'm staying with, bro. I don't want to see the players on the team that I love smiling after a loss. That's just me. And yeah, I asked him to sign it. I didn't really think that there was any hostility attached to that. I didn't think that there was any disrespect.
Just you. The only hostility was you. Like, what do you mean you can't sign it? Like,
okay, no. First of all, hold on. The hostility was directed towards the guy next to him, the one that was giving me attitude. Right? If you look back at the video, I was very respectful to Anthony Volpe, and maybe he was uncomfortable. I don't know, but he seemed like he was having a laugh about it. I was having a laugh about it. That's what my intentions were going into the video, bro. It was like, let me make this video because I thought it was funny, and I thought it's kind of like self-deprecating humor, I guess, where it's like, yo, 100%, I made this
because there were some
tweet.
comments that were saying like, if this is kind of what you were going for, I get it.
Well, because, bro, like, let's just be honest here. Do we really think that I went there with the intentions of being like, oh my God, I need this tweet signed, and if I don't get it signed, I'm gonna lose my marbles? Dude, it was just the point of it's funny.
People also don't understand the bigger picture and the background behind all this. I won't get into specifics, but if you're really going to take things for face value, you did exactly what Pat was hoping you do. Truthfully, Pat was taken back by the amount of reactions because he knew it was going to pop off, but he didn't think it was going to pop off, I think, to the extent that he did. Am I wrong or right for saying that?
No, you're not wrong. I feel like I knew it was going to pop off, but I didn't think it was going to pop off with so much hate directed towards me.
I mean,
You know what I
Twitter's
mean?
just the softest crowd imaginable. You know, most of
Well,
the accounts that were going after you are troll accounts, or Yanks fans are the equivalent of troll accounts. So if they show their face, I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. But aside from like all of those, you saw the difference, like Twitter to Instagram, the comments,
yeah,
what people are saying, like what app you are on 100%. Like if I go on Facebook right now, the majority of people are going to be like, this guy has no clue what he's talking about regarding the Mets. He's an
yeah.
absolute bum. I work for Bleacher Report. I get that all the time just because people don't know me as much, right? So like I get it. It varies on the platform for sure, but that entire situation was something else. So my
But
question
to
to you
put a
now
cap
is
on it,
to put a cap on it.
that,
Yeah.
like moving forward, like bro, I never disliked Anthony Volpe. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's a narrative that is out there just because I made that one take last year. Like,
100%. And every time you
bro,
hype him up, everyone's gonna say, "Shut up." That's what
but
they're
that's what
gonna
I'm
say to
saying,
you.
and
Yeah.
that's kind of just what comes with being on the internet. But I feel like at the end of the day, like obviously, I don't know Volpe personally. I'd like to meet him again eventually, maybe have a conversation and kind of just see what he thought about the whole thing too. Just because, like, I hope that he didn't take it the way 90% of Twitter took it, and he kind of saw it as what I did, and it was kind of just like a stupid take that I asked him to sign for a laugh. You know what I mean?
Right. It literally was like almost a skit, if that makes sense. And I feel
Yeah,
like if you were just able to see it from that point of view, you'd understand. But you know, according to Yanks fans, you are literally the worst.
yeah.
You it's the equivalent of murdering a guy with the reactions fans had, truthfully.
The,
Like
the
it
the reactions were a little absurd, I will say.
the reactions showed how little Yanks fans touch grass. That was my conclusion. Well, I mean, it makes sense, right? You know, there isn't much grass around you, so maybe I just kind of answered my own question, right? But that was absurd. So with Anthony Volpe off to the hot start he is this season, what has been your biggest takeaway with his play and the Yanks as a whole? And secondly, as I mentioned earlier, what is your biggest disappointment this season and why?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like you kind of look at the value that Volpe provides to the Yankees lineup now, and he's become everything that I wanted him to be, right? And everything that Yankees fans needed him to be. The Yankees didn't
To
call
cut you
Anthony
off
Volpe
one
up.
more time, just
Yeah,
because
no,
I
I'll
know
just
stat heads might like this, 372 average. He's got himself 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, over 1,000 OPS throughout the first 13 games of
sick.
the season. Pretty
Yeah,
damn good. Pretty damn
yeah.
good.
Which also were numbers like he had like a 400 batting average a couple days ago too. I think he had like a 1 for 4 game the other day and it went down.
Yeah.
But yeah, you kind of see what he was last year. A guy who was batting like sub 220 with 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases. A nice rookie season, right? Won a Gold Glove, but it's not who the Yankees needed. He wasn't a good leadoff hitter. He wasn't a contact focused guy. His swing was very loopy. And now you kind of see the work he put in this offseason and what he's doing so far to start this year. He's that contact focused guy. Bro, you look at his swing, it's impossible to strike him out. I'm sure he has a few strikeouts a season, but he's a lot more. His approach to the plate is a lot more whole, and it's a lot more just defined. It's a lot more mature. I think that's a good way to describe it. But yeah, you look at what he's doing, bro, and the Yankees just recently moved him to the leadoff spot yesterday. And last season, when they moved him to the leadoff spot, he didn't perform too well. But I truly hope that this works out because, dude, like the Yankees don't have a leadoff hitter right now. Gleyber Torres off to a brutal start to start the year
It's
in
his
the
final
leadoff
year with the
position.
Yanks. That was another
He's
one you
gone.
guys should have
Yeah.
cut loose with years prior that you didn't.
No, I agree. Yeah, he definitely should have been traded this past offseason. But
Right.
I just there probably wasn't a deal there. But bro, like if Volpe can provide that
Wait,
same
pump the
sort of
brakes,
value,
Pat. Someone
yeah.
said Mets will lose 140 games in the chat right now. Mike, pass that shit over here. That has to be the best shit imaginable that you're smoking. Seriously, Mike Jones. Oh my goodness, trash. Did you look in the mirror? My goodness. Pat, back to you.
Yeah, no, if Volpe provides that same sort of value at the leadoff spot, the Yankees lineup is going to be absolutely lethal. But even bro, even if he's not going to be the Yankees leadoff hitter for the majority of the season, the value that he provides from the 6 hole, from the 7 hole, still makes the lineup so much deeper. So I think what we're seeing from Volpe, I hope he keeps it up because if he does, bro, the Yankees lineup is essentially unstoppable.
So, who's your biggest disappointment this season then throughout the first 13 games?
I mean, bro, you kind of have to say Aaron Judge, right? Like,
Okay, so we can have an Aaron Judge, Francisco Lindor conjoined, two leaders
yeah,
of our team discussion right now as basically two of our worst hitters right now, right? That's where we're
which
at.
is crazy. But yeah. But also, I think even though we could sit here and say the two best hitters on both teams are off to brutal starts to start the season, I can sit here and say I'm not worried about Aaron Judge in the slightest.
Same way with me with Lindor. Yeah, we find ourselves in that category too. Again, I feel like the fans that are genuinely worried are just the ones that are too short-term reactionary, the ones that probably put a little too much stock into spring training, which I myself in years past have done. Not this year. I've changed my approach a lot when it came to spring training the past calendar year. But Judge, what is he doing right now offensively? I mean, how bad is it? Because
I
Lindor is
want
not
to
even
say
at a 100 average right now and a sub
okay, Judge isn't
400s.
that bad.
Oh,
No,
a
no,
sub
I want to say
400 OPS. He can't hit from the left side at all right now, Lindor. Only right.
yeah. I mean, Judge is batting 178. So a
Okay.
lot better than Lindor. Yeah.
Yeah.
745 OPS. So I mean, bro, not horrible.
That's still like I would take that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. No, for sure. Not the worst, but for what you expect out of Judge and for the way that Soto's thriving, Soto 360 average, 1000 OPS, 2 bombs, 12 RBIs already, which is nuts, right on par with him having, I think Soto's going to get, I know only has 2 bombs. I think Soto's going to get at least 40 home runs this year. I think he'll be in the 100 plus RBI category. He's going to
Yeah.
be he's going to be anywhere from I think this could be a 7 WAR season from Juan Soto. Like that's how good he is. It wouldn't shock me.
No, dude.
Like
He's
he really
insane.
is that good. But Aaron Judge is the difference because we know the foot issues he had in spring training. This is carryover from issues he's had in the past. And I think he's still dealing with that to a degree. And that's something that I think is going to linger with him, unfortunately, throughout the course of the season. So, especially in the case of Judge right now, not that you really need much pick me up because, again, you're 10-3 throughout your first 13. Not much complaining there. But like with the resurgence of a healthy, slimmer Giancarlo Stanton, who cannot be understated. He's been off to a great start, 900 OPS. He already has 4 bombs on the season, doing his Stantonian impression as always. And you got Rizzo, of course, who's off to a 666 OPS. So, kind of messed up, not going to lie. We look at the other options too. Alex Verdugo, that I know you've been a big fan of early on. Marcus Stroman, even though I absolutely despise Stroman. These guys, what they bring to the Yanks with that, what they haven't had prior is a swagger, it's a looseness to them, and it's like
Dog
I'm not going to be
mentality.
a tight ass every single day of the week and make sure that if there's one hair on my chin that I don't sprint to the freaking clubhouse right away to shave it off or pluck it off. Like this team, you can tell they're fun, they're more loose, and while they have heavy expectations, it's very early, we know they are certainly living up to those early ones, to say the least.
Yeah, and bro, like let's sit here and call a spade a spade. Like Giancarlo Stanton is another X factor in the Yankees lineup coming into the
Right.
year. Like we kind of knew that if the Yankees wanted to be World Series contenders, you needed Stanton to rebound. And a much slimmer Stanton started off the season very slow. I would say probably 5-6 games into the year, you had people calling for him to be DFA'd, like, yo, Stanton, he's completely washed. Bro, even I was in the boat where I was like, yo, Stanton actually might be washed. Because through the first whatever games of the season, he looked terrible. And now he definitely picked it up. That's just who he is, right? He's a streaky ass hitter where 10 games, he's going to hit 5 home runs. In the next 10 games, he's going to strike out 30 times. That's just what you're going to get. And fans should know that by now. But yeah, I mean, the Yankees are just dogs.
Okay, let's pump the brakes. Look, this is still a Mets dominated
No, I
channel
know.
at the end of the day. Hey.
One last thing. One last thing.
Sound like a
So,
freaking chihuahua. Go ahead.
seeing what the Yankees are doing is incredibly impressive because also this is going to lead us into our next topic as well. But they're doing this all without the best pitcher in baseball, Garrett Cole. And
That's a
once he
great point.
comes back, this team's going to be unstoppable because the rotation already looks really good with Stroman and Rodon. They're both having nice seasons. Nestor's also pitching pretty well. Luis Heel, he's the real deal. So yeah, once Cole comes back to that rotation too, I really think this team's going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, Luis Hill's now touching 99 on the gun, right? Velo's
It's
high for
absurd.
him too.
Yeah,
He's
no,
been
he
looking
looks
good.
great.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for a lot of reasons, but When talking about the Mets here, let's kind of wrap things up before we get on to, of course, the injury epidemic currently going on with starting pitchers in Major League Baseball, headlined by guys like Garrett Cole, obviously, and Spencer Strider. And then from there, we're going to get into a little bit on a quick series preview for both teams, what the Yanks have coming up, what the Mets have coming up. And we'll wrap things by just sharing our overall thoughts on top prospect Jackson Holliday making his debut. And if there's any other prospects that we're excited and looking forward to watching this MLB season as true baseball fans. But before I do that, final remarks I want to share here on the Mets just for a couple minutes. And for my Mets fans, of course, chime in, let us know your thoughts. Hit that like and subscribe on if you're watching live on a replay to the latest edition of the Bridging the Gap podcast. That's Patrick Hennessy. You can check him out at Unhinged Patrick on Twitter and on YouTube. You can check me out here on YouTube on the channel. On Twitter, same applies. Thank you all so much in advance. And make sure to check out our post-game show that came out earlier as the Mets stomped on the Atlanta Braves. 16-4 was your final. And again, big takeaways for me. So I asked you, Pat, obviously, right? Okay. All right. Little bare knuckle boxing. I see you.
Stomped on the Braves.
Stomped on the Braves.
In more ways than one.
I'll give you two. So the guy that's impressed me the most so far this season, I'm not sure how, locked in you are, especially with the Mets, but hopefully you are a little bit more
I'm locked in.
Brett Baty. Brett Baty has looked fantastic. And for those that don't know just how much struggles Brett Baty went through last year, again, this is a former top 20 prospect in baseball, our top prospect at the hot corner, had a bulk of the 2023 season to perform. He ended up winning the starting job not even full month into the season over Eduardo Escobar because the Mets traded Eduardo Escobar. Baty just could not lift the ball at all at the major league level. He could not catch up to major league pitching. Fastballs right through, breaking balls, not a chance. And when he did make contact, he was a ground ball merchant. So he openly spoke on in the offseason his mental struggles and hurdles he went through, and it happened throughout the course of the year. Just a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations for a Mets team at the time that was still trying to really kind of redo what they did in 2022. In 2023, make playoffs, compete, all that kind of stuff, and they fell flat on their face like no tomorrow. But Baty, after having a very underwhelming true rookie season, comes in, works on his defense heavily because he had a lot of hiccups last year, and offensively lifting and driving the ball. This season now he's batting .311, just under 800 OPS right now. I think he's 730, 740, but that all changes just with one game where he gets himself a home run, something along those lines. But Baty, what has looked so great about him and why he's the Mets' biggest improvement right now, the most impressive one, is that this guy went from one who literally looked like he had the yips at the hot corner last year to making diving stops, leaping stops left and right, drilling out guys like Ronald Acuna Jr. and others, bolting down first base. Ellie De La Cruz without a problem when we're facing the Reds. And offensively, every single game he's putting the ball in play. He's having to hit every single game, it feels like, over this road trip. And lefty on lefty, the Mets, being the schmucks that they were, decided to platoon him early in his career, saying, oh, lefty on lefty, we're not going to bat you. This season we are. His first hit of the year, folks, is a 3-run pimp job off a lefty for a bomb, and they're unfortunate at the time. That's when they lost the series to either the Brewers or Detroit, one of them, I'm already forgetting. But a huge bomb there. He's been raking against lefties that we saw even in the Atlanta Braves series. He's been our biggest improvement. We might actually have a consistency at the hot corner for the first time since prime David Wright. That is how great and how promising he has looked throughout the first 13 games. Just night and day. And you can tell if the peripheral's back at 2. Like, he's not just getting lucky right now. He's making a difference. And on the disappointment end, before I share that, any thoughts, Pat?
Yeah, I want to say one thing about Baty, just in the sense of it's so comparative to Anthony Volpe, right? Like, both top prospects coming into the 2023 season, obviously both had pretty disappointing seasons. Maybe Volpe's was a little bit better. But
Volpe's season was better. He was an odd player in his rookie year. 200 average, stealing a lot of bags, great defense. So
but yeah, 2024, they're both off to great starts and showing the potential of the player. Well, showing what player they can actually be. So I think that's both really exciting on both ends.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, aside from him, obviously it's Francisco Alvarez, but that's like kind of the obvious. 25 bombs as a rookie last year when he didn't even start the year with the team. This year already, he's leading the way offensively. I mean, Francisco Alvarez right now is batting, let's see here, he's at 281 average, and he has over 800 OPS, including 1 home run. And how many RBIs does he have? I don't have it on top at the moment, but he's looked great so far this season. He's been an X factor both offensively and defensively. He's going to go down as a top 3 catcher in Major League Baseball by the end of the season, 1,000%. If not the best. Well, that is how high I am on Francisco Alvarez.
Yeah, I mean, like, bro, who would we say are the top 3 right now? Like, Real
Adley
Muto,
Rutschman. Adley
Adley,
Rutschman is 100%. Sean Murphy
uh,
and Will Smith.
yeah, no, I think that's fair then, because I could totally see Alvarez being better than either Murphy or Smith.
Murphy's down with
100%.
injury right now. Smith, while he's on the big contract in a deep Dodgers lineup, Alvarez, what he's doing, just
Yep.
offensively, defensively. Again, this is a guy that's literally becoming an elite framer at 22 years of age. His blocking is sensational. He has one of the best arms in Major League Baseball to draw out guys at second base or third or first, whatever you need to do. And offensively, he has such a wide stance, and he just absolutely yokes home runs. He's trotting like a giant around the bases. Like, if you watch him, I've never seen someone trot the way he does. He's just like all muscle, this durable looking guy, but he's absolutely yoked. He is our future at the backstop. No, I called him a gerbil. I call a lot of catchers that, actually. Yeah, but like a roided gerbil. Like
that
one
feels
that
offensive.
like No, it doesn't.
Like, if
I
you
don't
called
think...
me a gerbil, I would take that as an insult.
But that just means you're soft. That's all that means. El Troll, his nickname is literally El Troll, like the troll, just to give you an idea.
Like a troll doll?
No, just El Troll, just like a troll. That's what his nickname is. And he's got a tat on his neck right here that says the best. I'm pretty sure his confidence level is high enough to suggest me calling him a gerbil in a non-offensive manner is going to bother him.
Have you ever seen a troll doll?
A troll doll? Yes, I have, actually.
You know, you kind of remind me of them.
Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm glad we're on the same page there. But a guy I think is most disappointing that is not named Francisco Lindor, because Lindor's been the one that stuck out like a sore thumb. Funny enough, is two guys that did both fantastic today. So you can really pick either. One is Jeff McNeil, because up until today's game, McNeil, who again is a true slap hitter that we know, spreads the ball over the place, has struggled a lot on being that consistent 2 to 3 hit guy. Like DJ LeMahieu. You know, think of DJ LeMahieu and kind of the decline he's had. We're seeing that now with McNeil. Not to the same magnitude, but when McNeil was, you know, at his worst, this guy is a soft ground out of first base every single at bat, yelling F-bombs down the first baseline, and he's not having a good time, like at all. And he lets his emotions get away of the big picture at times. Thankfully, though, Jeff had a tremendous game today. 3 RBIs, 2 hits, going gap to gap, had himself a multi-run double. So aside from him, DJ Stewart only has like 3 hits for the Mets this season, or 2, and they're all via home run. He's batting 100 with just under an 800 OPS right now, because of the fact that he's doing his best freaking Schwarber impression. Kyle Schwarber. He hit 2 bombs in this Braves series, both of which were absolutely vital in these games for the Mets. 2-run bomb today to blow it open and make it 7-0. He had a huge bomb that we saw in game 1 of this series, too, that helped propel the Mets to victory while Julio Teheran was on the bump. Those guys were 2 of the biggest disappointments, but Jeff sticks out more because DJ isn't going to be here more than likely once JD Martinez is called up. He's just kind of that filler option. McNeil's the guy where I'm genuinely curious as to what his future is going to be, because I don't foresee it finishing with the Mets. I don't think he's going to have his whole contract here at all. I think he's going to be shipped off well before that happens.
Yeah, I was going to say, DJ Stewart, like, I can't even call him disappointing, just because it's like, bro, how can someone be disappointing that you don't really have big expectations for? And someone who's not going to be on the team for the future. You know what I mean?
So I think it's more so just having daily at-bats still. Like, if you're starting DH more often than not, you know, we want to see you perform. Like, he literally looked like a guy that just completely forgot how to hit a baseball. The first series and the first like 3 series, really. If it wasn't for the Atlanta Braves, I mean, he'd still probably be hitless right now. So it doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, think about the home runs. He hit one off of Pierce Johnson, who's not good. Then he hit one off of the Allen Winans today, not good. So again,
screw you, Allen Winans.
Kind of,
and screw you, DJ Stewart. Screw all of yous. Yeah. Yeah, you're all a bunch of bums, bro.
Hey, still on the team, all right? You want to talk about bums? Don't get me started with that two-faced, oh my God, I've always dreamed of this, Marcus Stroman, every single day of the week.
Yo, wait a minute.
I don't care. I don't give a shit. I do not care how much you're sucking as you know what. No, we will always feel the way we feel about Stroman until he rights the wrongs, because this guy targeted so many fans. Targeted Keith Hernandez himself, targeted
No, it's
multiple
fine.
people in the organization
You
just for
targeted
being
me. It's
butthurt that we
okay.
didn't want to bring him back.
No, it's fine. Dude, listen. We were on stream when we found out that Marcus Stroman was signing with the New York
And
Yankees.
you remember how
I
upset you were.
I almost cried. Okay, because I remember the time when he called me a loser and said I live a pathetic life. But you know what? That was a long time ago, and now Marcus Stroman might be one of my favorite New York Yankees. Just the aura, the dog mentality that he provides. I love Marcus Stroman. He's just one of those guys where he's on your team and you love him. If he's not on your team, you hate him.
But
And I love everything that he provides right now.
well, you say that now. I will say this: when I was at the stage you were at with Stroman, like tenure, same exact way. That's how it was his whole first year in Queens. So you may very well be that way this whole time. But this again, he is his own worst enemy. Stroman is not a bad human being, but he said some absolutely horrendous things that, or not even, I don't want to say said, he typed them. He's deleted all the tweets since then. He's unblocked a shit ton of people that I usually had blocked. So I think he's trying to kind of right the wrong and say, like, I'm going to try not to be soft now. I'm going to let everyone see I'm going to just vibe and do my thing. Again, just for a guy that preached positivity and mental health as much as he did, he needed to look hard in the mirror with the way he was reacting with fans. That's what drove us Mets fans nuts, because literally I was a massive fan of his. We're going back to his time in Toronto. With the Mets, height doesn't measure art. I'm a short schmuck, so I'm already loving you right away for that reason alone. Exactly, Pat. And then you find out that, instead of kind of handling it okay, that, you're a free agent now, the Mets are going another direction, they're not going to bring you back, he decided to burn every bridge and their mother along the way. Like, he just couldn't not. And that's something that he's continued to do with every team he's been with until this point. He's burned bridges in Chicago as well. Not to the same degree as the Mets, but I've seen the deleted tweets. Again, it drives me up a wall. It really does.
No, I know. And when he leaves the Yankees, he's probably gonna rip the organization to shreds. Like that's just how it
Probably.
goes.
Yeah.
But dude, I don't care, because as long as he pitches well, that's all I care about right now. And if he wins us a World Series, bro, in 5 years he could talk all the shit he wants to about the 2024 New York Yankees.
That's a different
I'll
circumstance.
still have a ring to celebrate. You know what I mean?
Speaking of pitchers that both pitched in Queens and the Bronx, the Mets have a big name that's going to get his number retired this Sunday. The Doc himself, Doc Gooden. Yes, he's getting his number retired in Queens, long awaited. What's your thoughts about that from a Yanks fan? I know obviously you didn't get to appreciate, and nor did I, obviously, live during his time with the Mets. The same thing with him with the Yanks. But as a guy who, of course, went to the Yanks, had plenty of success there as well in the second half of his career with Strawberry too. I just want to know, what is your thoughts about him getting his number retired this Sunday?
Yeah, no, I think it's cool. To be honest, I don't really know much about him because, I operate under the philosophy of, if I wasn't alive to watch a player, they don't exist in my mind. So I can't really like formulate opinions on them.
So you were very much like anyone pre you're tapped out.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
so
bro,
that goes
yeah,
for Yanks too, right? So that goes for Yanks
100%.
history, your most
Yeah.
story. So were you the fan? Here's the second question then, because that's fine. I'm like that to an extent too. Like, I do my due diligence with the legends of the organization, but I'm not
Listen, like, bro, do you care about 86?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Really?
The reason why I care so much about 86 is because of what a movie it was for Queens, for Mets fans, for New York.
I know, but you didn't experience it.
I didn't experience it, but it doesn't mean I can't appreciate it. Those are two different things. Without 86, the Mets haven't won then since 69. Like, that 86 win is pivotal because it paved the way for so many fandoms at the time. And without 86, I don't know how passionate of a Mets fan my dad is. That kind of births me into it as well. So again, there's a big trickle-down effect when it comes to those types of things. And I get what you're saying, but my question to you then, foolish Yankee fan in the chat right now, you're getting some shit. Knicks with a huge dub tonight as well. Huge Knicks dub against the Celtics.
You know what I mean? Like, usually Yankee fans are like obsessed with the past, and that's all they think about.
Right, and that's why us Mets fans hate them. So my second question to you then, Pat, is, were you the Yanks fan growing up, even when you were a little schmuck, maybe you were 10, whenever you were? Were you the type to flex to 27 rings without really batting an eye or watching any of the history, any of the reruns or anything? Of course you were.
Probably. I mean, when I was like 7, 8, 9, like, bro, 100%, I would flex like Joe DiMaggio and like Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth. But once I got older, I was like, yo, like, I don't care personally. Do I respect the history? 100%, right? Like, how could you not? Like, I think going to the museums is cool, and like seeing Babe Ruth's 1904 uniform, cool. But am I going to sit back and really be like, wow, the Yankees won it all in 1927? No, bro. Like, I will do that for
No.
2009, and I'll look back on, like, even the 2017 season more fondly than I will 1999. And I think a lot of Yankee fans will find that crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to like the true historians of the game,
Yeah.
especially for a team. But I'm with you in the sense that my ADHD just doesn't allow me to have the patience to go back and watch everything, especially over and over and try to appreciate it because I didn't live through it. There's something to be said when you live through these experiences yourself that you just cannot replicate. That's why, again, the older, more seasoned Mets fans and Yanks fans watching this have a greater appreciation for these things because they went through it themselves. That's
Yeah.
why this Sunday is far more important to my dad than I would say it is for me with Dwight Gooden getting his number
Are you
retired.
going?
I love it. It's a tremendous thing. Unfortunately, I won't be going. Have a very busy weekend with the family, obvious reasons. But aside from, it's actually funny you say that because I was invited to do a dinner Saturday night with Dwight and a bunch of other former players too. But I'm literally just not around because I don't live around the corner, unfortunately, and I'm already busy. But I hope Dwight has a fantastic time this Sunday. I hope all the Mets fans attending have a tremendous time. And what hopefully
Can
will
we
be
go
a
to a Met
series
game together?
win. Can the Kansas City Royals? We 100% will. We'll make content. We're going to do Subway Series stuff this year too, obviously. We're going to have fun with it. We'll probably live stream like leaving a game too. That'll be
Shout out
fun.
to Doc
So
Gooden, though. Shout out to him.
shout out to Doc. He's a beauty. Doc was an absolute stud back in the day. Of course, he went through a lot of highs and lows because him, like a lot of guys on that 86 Mets team, were doing more than just playing baseball. And that was unfortunately, something where you could say, without it, do they win it all? Genuinely don't know. So, everything kind of happens for a reason, but a lot of controversy ensues when you think about Straw and Doc. It depends on where you are with the spectrum and, forgiveness and all that kind of stuff. But Doc, number retired Sunday. I love Steve Cohen continuing to pay homage to our past, something that our previous owners under the Wilpons just did such a little with. I mean, they literally built Citi Field as more of a Jackie Robinson memorial, which is not a bad thing. I love Jackie, but the Mets initially built the stadium more on kind of the Brooklyn Dodgers way than they did about trying to build their own history. And that bothers me. And not the Jackie part, just like the initial intent behind it. And that's why I'm excited and hopeful that under Steve Cohen, under David Stearns, we can kind of start to right the ship and have our own history made over the next coming years. But
I like
before we
that.
get into, you like that? I like it
I
too.
like that
But
mentality.
before we get into the kind of quick series previews and talking about Jackson Holliday to wrap up the show, let's talk just for a couple minutes, Pat, about the starting pitching epidemic currently going on in Major League Baseball. Guys are dropping like flies. We're seeing alarming injury rates like never before. And just to expand here with a little bit of context, context, before the season even began, we were just coming off of the heels of guys like Garrett Cole, obviously, down with injury, where we haven't even done a show yet since the Garrett Cole injury happened. So that's a
Have
big
we
discussion
not?
there, of course. With it, no, we haven't. We haven't done a show that's been that long. Exactly, it's been over a month. Shane McClanahan obviously going down. Sandy Alcantara, Jacob deGrom over the past calendar year, all these guys going down with significant UCL injuries, obviously. And then, of course, Shohei Ohtani too. Let's not forget that. That was heading into the season. Then you add in Yuri Perez, who is supposed to be the new ace there for the Miami Marlins. He's down for the year with Tommy John surgery. Spencer Strider, that many schmucks on Bleacher Report, I got upset that I picked Zach Wheeler over Strider as the best pitcher in baseball. I didn't pick Garrett Cole because, just because Cole isn't healthy. That was the reason why Yanks fans couldn't comprehend, because they couldn't click on the video. And they just, I will say BR Walkoff did kind of screw me slightly there because they posted the graphic and there's no context in the graphic, obviously. It's just the ranking for each position. And when you see Zach Wheeler and they're like, no Garrett Cole, I wasn't going to reply to everyone. I digress. Spencer Strider, that many believe is the best pitcher in baseball, he's not. If the Mets can torch him when the Mets aren't even good, he's 100% not the best in baseball. He's out with potentially a season-ending injury with damage to his UCL. Spencer's still in his early 20s, has already had Tommy John surgery, and yet his UCL can't handle the heat once again. Now we look at Framber Valdez, just went down with elbow inflammation. The southpaw stud there in Houston when he's going right. Astros off to a horrendous start this season, which your Yanks had something to say about. Congratulations as well. I'm going to definitely eat my words. I thought that Houston series was not going to go the way it did. You guys took care of them without a problem. You did it really impressive, and you saw the shades of Juan Soto that we saw back in the World Series when he was balling out against JV and that Astros team a couple of years ago. So I will give kudos where kudos is deserved there. But between all these injuries now, we even saw it most recently with Josiah Gray, flexor issue as well with the Nationals. Everyone is dropping like flies. So the big question is, how does this stop, Pat? And the problem is, the way this stops is by us approaching the game differently, and it isn't going to change anytime soon. At least it doesn't feel that way. Guys are throwing heat way too hard right now. They're starting way too early now, too, when doctors repeatedly say, no matter how much or how consistent you throw 99, 100, your UCL just cannot handle it. We have not adapted long enough as, human beings. We need like 100 years of pitching for that elbow to naturally change for these guys over time, because you're going to need UCL surgery with Tommy John after UCL surgery again if you're going to continue to consistently throw out. I mean, I even think of Felix Bautista. Tremendous year last year for the Orioles. He, of course, is on the shelf for a period of time. So this is a continuation of problem we've had now. And between the high heat being as consistent as it is, that young guys are starting now, getting Tommy John in early high school, which is crazy, to now having it where you have a pitch clock that only gives you how many seconds to prepare and pitch every single at-bat there. Not easy. And then you add in, you don't even have a universal sticky substance really in baseball yet where you can properly formulate your pitch grips, that you're not trying to manipulate RPMs. You just want to be comfortable. I mean, Tyler Glasnow famously a couple years ago was notorious for saying, this is exactly why I'm having Tommy John surgery now, because I had to drastically change my pitch grips and the feel into a season when I went how many years using sweat and rosin as my normal go-to just to feel comfortable with the baseball. So there's a lot of factors that go into this, Pat. So from your point of view, what do you think is something that could be done about this? And do you think that this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better?
Yeah, I mean, bro, it's so tough to say because I think we could all sit here and realize like there's a problem, right? You look at all the top pitchers in Major League Baseball, and seeing them all go down one by one like flies. It's obviously not great for the sport, right? But I think it's also catch-22 because what do you do to combat it? Obviously, I'm not a doctor. You're not a doctor, but we can only listen to what the doctors have said. And like you said, um, the human body just isn't built for what these pitchers are doing just yet. And I think it's not like you could tell the pitchers to be like, yo, like, let's throw a little bit slower. Let's not put 110% to every pitch. It's not realistic. So I think unfortunately it's an epidemic that it's like a freight train right now. Like you can't stop it. I think the only thing that we can do and what we're seeing is the medicine and the recovery is evolving, right? Like I would say that Tommy John surgery isn't what it was 10 years ago per se. And you're seeing guys recover quicker and you're seeing other options available. I mean, you look at Garrett Cole, right? Like he had that what was it, elbow inflammation. And rather than needing surgery, he's kind of just rested in recovery for 2 months and kind of just that's what the doctor's orders were. So I think as time goes on, we are going to see these injuries. We might see it get worse before it gets better, to be honest.
I
But
think
I
we're
think it's
going
going to
to
be,
at this rate. It feels
yeah,
inevitable.
yeah. But I do think it's going to be interesting because there's no way to combat it. We kind of just have to like sit back and watch, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think the best way that pitchers can combat it, knowing that MLB rule changes when it comes to pitch clock and other things are not going to drastically change right now because they literally just started. Games are being cut down by at least a half hour on average. MLB's loving that with the turnouts having with fans right now and their interest level. Again, whether you like it or not, MLB's happy with how the rule changes have gone to this point. Can't say the same thing for everyone in the union. It depends on what it is exactly, but there's also a lot of things on the offensive end that they're happy about with the start of the season too versus what we saw a couple years ago. But I think it comes down to what Justin Verlander said best. It's a cultivation of a lot of things. JV had a fantastic interview a couple days when discussing these ongoing issues and really broke it down how, not only that we're seeing where horizontal movement, I've heard from doctors, is causing an increased issue, like sweepers, for example. I got to watch with my boy Sean Mania that he tosses them good, and others. That's been more of an issue. The horizontal movement, one, and two, not soft tossing, but dialing back. It's very hard for a starting pitcher that can comfortably throw 99, 100 to comfortably throw 94, 95 because they know they have more gas in the tank. But being able to differentiate these things and to have more movement on your fastball, or if say you're a sinker pitcher, right? Or if you're a sinker pitcher, splitty pitcher, to have those late movements is important if you're going to be throwing around that. And then of course to have proper breaking pitches. Like you don't need to be a flamethrower to have success in Major League Baseball. There's a lot of guys in the game today that are leading the way as guys that, yes, they might have, 98 in their back pocket, but they use it sparingly. They use it when they really need to use it. For the most part, they're going to hover anywhere from 93 to 95. That's where guys kind of need to get back. We need to focus more on the off speed. We need to focus more on the true craft and art of pitching, and not just the sake of, oh, I have a 100-mile-per-hour arm, I'm going to just throw fastballs right down the pipe until you start touching, then I'll start to mix things up. Like, that was literally what Jacob deGrom did up until, his final days with the Mets, was consistently touching 98 to 100 with every fastball, where he could paint wherever he wanted. It's a unique situation with Jake, because he's one of those guys that gained velo as he got older. One of those things where, again, while in his Cy Young award-winning seasons with the Mets, was hovering more mid-90s, was not touching consistently 97 to 100 the way he was his final couple years with the Mets. Then he goes again to the Rangers, same exact issue. He's got all the talent in the world, but the arm will just not catch up to him. And it's guys like him that heartbreak me, that we're seeing, again, tremendous careers being derailed with injury. Garrett Cole, similar applies. He's out right now with injury. There's more optimism on his front, which is great. I guess my question for you with Garrett Cole, though, in particular, do you expect him to come back and be fully comfortable and healthy for the season after his ramp up? And when do you anticipate that he's going to return right now?
I would say realistic, because what we were told was 1 to 2 months, right? I'm obviously looking at the later side of that. I'm probably looking at like a June return for Garrett Cole. I think that would probably be most ideal. Once again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. He could be back in end of May for all we know. But I think June might be the most realistic option at this point. But I think we'll probably see a fully healthy Garrett Cole sometime between July and August. And at that point, you only really need 3 months out of him at that point.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to get him sometime post All-Star break, I think.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what's
no.
gonna
I
happen.
think he'll be back before that, but I don't think he's going to be like full steam ahead by that point. You know what I mean?
You want to make a friendly wager? Because I don't think, not to be a pessimist, I truly do not think Cole's going to come back until like second week of August at earliest.
That's crazy. No, I would bet on you. I would bet that he's back before the All-Star break.
Okay. So you're going to take before, I'm going to take after.
Yeah.
What should we do? What should be, what does the loser have to do versus the winner?
I gotta wear a Mets hat on stream, and if
Bet.
he, and then you gotta wear a Yankees hat.
I'll wear a Yanks hat, or if you actually send me, like if we see each other physically before we find out or something, if you have a Garrett Cole shirt or whatever,
Yeah,
if you want to send it my way, I can wear it for a whole show. I'll wear like the front of it to show it off. So I think that's fair. Handshake? Think that's good? Okay, folks, let us know in the chat for people that watch on replay. Do you think Garrett Cole's going to return from his injury before or after the All-Star break? Let us know in the chat. Greatly appreciate it. And now, let's get on to talking about the two final topics here. We're not going to be long-winded. Let's talk briefly about the upcoming series for both the Mets and the Yanks here. Now, for the Yanks, who do they have coming up next? I know you just took 2 out of 3 against the Miami Marlins. Kind of surprising that you didn't sweep them, but again, teams are going to win ball games the same way that the Mets went 1 of 5 and then take 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. It doesn't have to make sense sometimes. It just happens.
The answer there is Cleveland.
Cleveland
a team that's
Guardians.
been pretty surprising this year.
Yes, they are with their new manager. Vote. Yeah, hell yeah. That's a wagon for sure.
Yeah, I mean, bro, a team that honestly I didn't really know much about up until I realized like, yo, the Yankees are playing them this weekend. So I was like, yo, let me see how they're doing. Bro, the Guardians are off to a 9-3 start, leading the AL Central. And also, bro, like Josh Naylor is a freaking dog.
Feels like yesterday.
No, how'd that end up for him?
I know Yanks fans were going. I mean, Yanks fans are the type that are still booing Jose Altuve. Like, shut the fuck up.
That's ridiculous.
Like, I'm sorry. Jose Altuve, out of that entire scandal, is the best guy. If you actually know the situation, if you know what happened, he's the best guy in the group, or one of them, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's an incredibly casual thing to do, but I'm extremely confident in this series. I'm extremely confident in every series the Yankees walk into. Just because I view them as the best team in baseball right now, and I think everyone else does as well. So yeah, I think if you walk out of Cleveland winning 2 out of 3, I'm extremely pleased there. And I kind of just want to see Aaron Judge wake up a little bit, right? I think going on the road will help him out a little bit. Maybe he's not going to press as much. Who knows? But yeah, no, I think my key for this series against the Guardians is seeing Aaron Judge finally wake up to start the year.
Yeah, Aaron Judge to wake up would be huge. A Cleveland Guardians series feels like the type for Aaron Judge to wake up too, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest. No, I know that of course
There's gonna be like 3 people in the crowd, bro. Like,
they're a great pitching lab. They're a great pitching lab there in Cleveland. They're still going to make it work without Shane Bieber. They're going to push for the wild card still, regardless of that. But I would anticipate the Yanks at minimum win 2 out of 3 if that's a 3-game set. And the Mets, funny enough, we got a series against the Kansas City Royals that I'm all
wow.
but like overly confident on. And that's the Royals are 9-4 to start the season. Michael Walker's coming off of a tremendous performance. He's facing off against the Mets. Unfortunately, he didn't have the arsenal he had when he was a Met in 2019, or else, maybe I wouldn't despise the guy as much. He's with a 2.25 ERA, facing off against Luis Severino. Sevy, I gotta say, Sevy, listen to this just for a minute. Sevy's first start with the Mets gave up a career-high 12 hits, right? ERA was initially like 11 or 12, gets cut to 5.4 because there was a really bad defensive error to kick off that game, which is let guys get on. His second start goes in Cincy, absolutely shoves. Has like one inning where he grinds out a little bit, but he looks really strong. It's just about getting him now to pitch consistently 6+ innings for us. But he was touching 98 until the end of the game. His sweeper that he has, which he hasn't had in years prior, looks great. He has 2 different sliders now, basically. And his stuff looks good. Like, he looked animated, and I'm excited to see what Sevy can do. But this is a hungry, exciting, young, thrilling Royals team with, in my opinion, one of, if not arguably already, the best shortstop in baseball. Yes, you heard me say that. Bobby Witt Jr. is an absolute dog. He is going to be in AL MVP voting this year. He is a huge focal point of that Royals lineup. So while I, of course, have confidence and optimism the Mets can take 2 out of 3 from the Royals, I would not be shocked if they lose this series because, one, we're back at home. We have been shit at Citi Field throughout the first couple series. The weather at Citi Field is not going to be the same that it is in Atlanta, even though that it does look like the forecast should be okay this weekend. I'll actually double check right now while we're talking. Pat, actually, you let me know. You live in Queens. Just tell me what the weather is for the
I think
next
it's gonna
couple
be
of
fine
days.
this weekend. I think tomorrow it's supposed to rain, but I think Saturday and Sunday are fun.
Of course, tomorrow there's a 75% chance of rain, so we'll see if there's a rain delay or that gets pushed into a doubleheader over the weekend for the Mets. I don't know exactly how much rain we're expecting. Saturday, of course, it's a cool, windy day, high of 53. Sunday's partially cloudy, a high of 68. So Sunday will be the nicest day weather-wise, but we're going to kind of get more shitty doom and gloom weather for the next 48 hours in Queens, which is exactly why I don't have an overwhelming
right now,
sense of
actually.
confidence. Exactly. So that's my concern level. It's not as much about the matchup for the Mets, I think, as it is this kind of dark cloud over them literally at Citi Field right now. Because teams just aren't having fun when they're cold, frigid, windy weather. They all want summer baseball. That's why guys out west thrive a lot more than guys on the East Coast half the time, at least to begin the seasons. I know you have a smirk on your face. So is there something you want to add there?
No, yeah, somebody in the chat just goes, "Oh no, it's Wardy and the Wish version of Wardy." It's an absurd comment, bro.
That is absurd. It's 1200. It's my boy 1200. Oh, I love him. Oh, that's hilarious. That's killing me. Oh, that's hilarious. That's a good one. I will say there have been a lot of people that are like, are they brothers?
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. I don't think we look alike.
I don't think we look alike either. I think we're just 2 short Caucasian males that have facial hair and wear their hats forward more often than not. That's all I really see. But again, teach their own, teach their own. If you had shorter hair, like if you had a similar hairstyle to me, then I think it would be more amplified.
I agree.
But aside from that, no.
Yeah, for sure.
Final thing before we get out of here, all right? I am on the O's wagon. You are not. We are very different on this front. And the Baltimore Orioles are more than likely going to win that division. Yes, you heard that correctly. I still think that they're going to win the division over the Yanks this year. I'm not buying just the Yanks here to start the year. The Orioles are going to be a wagon, and they have just called up their top prospect, the top prospect in baseball. Babyface 20-year-old Jackson Holliday had an RBI ground out in his debut in Boston yesterday. I don't know how he's doing today. I'm not keeping up with the Boston Red Sox Orioles game at the moment. Gunnar Henderson just did something very good, though. I'm aware of that. Love him, too. Got to ask, what's your big takeaway with Jackson Holliday, again, making his long-awaited MLB debut? O's, of course, did service time manipulation during that time. They have a new owner. Vibes are looking electric in Baltimore. How do you feel about Jackson?
Yeah. Let me just say, let me double down on what I said a few days ago. The Baltimore Orioles do not scare me this year. The New York Yankees are by far the best team in the AL East. They're by far the best team in baseball. And the Orioles calling up Jackson Holliday does absolutely nothing for me. He's just
You're just
sure
such a
he's
bitch when it
talented.
comes
No,
to
no,
this.
no,
No,
no.
you
no.
are. You are.
He's
I'm
talented.
going unhinged. I'm going unhinged with this. You're
No.
gonna you're already ragging on the guy. You're
How am I
already
ragging on him? He just doesn't scare me. The Baltimore Orioles do not scare me. That's not ragging
What
on them.
about that baby
I said
face
he's
scares
talented,
you?
bro. What?
What about that baby face scares you? Of course it's not supposed to be
Exactly.
scary.
They don't scare me, bro.
They don't scare you, dude. They're just they literally look like a group of dumb blondes, but those dumb blondes are going to go out and rake and score 10
Even
runs on them.
talent-wise, I don't think they're good enough to compete with the Yankees this year.
That's just blasphemy. I just don't get I just don't get why you feel that way after the success that they had against you guys last year, and they're only going to be better this year.
No, dude. Also, this isn't even an act. I texted you.
No, I know it's not an act. It's why it pisses me off more. Truthfully,
they don't scare me.
The O's are just so much fun. Like, I just don't get how you could
They're
be
fun. They're not good.
Even as a Yanks fan, to suggest that the O's aren't 100% a problem for you this year is the most asinine take imaginable. I know you're on a 10-3 start. I get that, but we still got 150 plus games to go.
Okay.
So, do you think there's not going to be any points this season where you'll be intimidated by the Baltimore Orioles?
No.
Because I cannot wait for when you match up with Baltimore, and I cannot wait for the results of that for when we discuss it here.
I'm
an O's fan now. I'm 100% on the wagon. I've been on the wagon for a year and a half now.
At the bit for when the Yankees play the Orioles on April 29th in Baltimore. Bro, it's a 4-game series in Baltimore.
We need to do a show slowly after that, because again, if the Yanks pounce, talk your shit. You do you, boo. I get it. If Baltimore pounces, though, I am ripping your ass a new one, because this is a team that 100% is going to ball out. And if it's a series split, then we'll go through the highs, the lows, and everything in between. It'll kind of be even keeled. But
let me say one thing on that real quick. The New York Yankees are not going to lose possession of first place for the rest of the year.
Clip that. Everybody watching this, clip that right now.
Clip it. Bro, clip it.
Yanks will be out of first by June 2nd.
No chance. Not a chance. I would say by the end of that Baltimore series, they'll be at least 4 games up on first place.
You want to know why I had the confidence level? It's not the fact that I have a lack of confidence in the lineup. I have questions about your pitching. I know you're off to a nice start, but I think Garrett Cole, that's going to loom as we get into summer. You guys are going to feel missing Garrett Cole. You're not feeling it now. You're going to feel it. And it's a team like the Baltimore Orioles that are going to give you a humble taste of pie. That's what it's going to be.
Sure.
So
we'll humble taste of pie, really?
Humble slice of pie. You know what I actually almost sound like?
A slice of humble pie.
Have you seen Happy Gilmore?
Nope.
You're actually, that's probably the most mad you made me today. Holy fuck. Wow, I can't even make movie references with you. Why are we even doing this shit? Okay, final thing. Are there any prospects in Major League Baseball outside the Baltimore Orioles organization that you are excited to watch this season? Anyone in particular that you have your eye on? Think.
Do Yankees count?
Yanks can count if you want to be biased, but I'm trying to expand a little bit here. Let's see if you have some knowledge. Let's name a prospect in another organization. Let's start there. How much homework do we got to do for the next episode, Pat?
Let's go with no. I'm a baseball fan, okay? I'm an analyst.
An analyst. I'm a fucking analyst. Okay.
Give me Mackenzie Gore.
He's not a fucking prospect anymore, dude. He's not.
No, that was a joke. No.
Oh,
okay.
Of course.
The actual prospect I'm looking forward to is Paul Skeens.
Oh, okay. Fine. Took you long enough. I bet you know Paul for his girlfriend more than him. Because
I don't even know who his girlfriend is.
Oh, it's that girl Lily. That's
her name's Livy.
Her name's Livy. See,
by the way.
This is you do know her. That's just for my points. Like, are you kidding me? You're actually shitting right now. That was ridiculous. Oh my god.
Her name's Livy Dunn. Okay.
That's ridiculous. So you got Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens is great. Throws absolute gas. Exciting stuff. But there's a couple guys right now that I'm really excited about. You know, truthfully, I don't have as much excitement as I thought I would. Like, aside from the sweepstakes, like Yoshinobu Yamamoto, I was planning to still be a bit more locked in on early on this season. He's had one good start I've seen so far to this point. You know, hasn't gone deep yet. Guys titslet there that we saw in the first series in Seoul, Korea against the Padres. But outside that, I don't know if there's honestly a lot of guys right now, prospect-wise, that I'm like drooling over that I'm excited to watch this season. Especially because of like, I'm kind of more focused on not as much prospects, but actually, no, I shouldn't say that. Because Wyatt Langford is an absolute stud for the Texas Rangers. I have to throw him in that mix. I'm really excited to watch more of him this year. Evan Carter, I know that he had his taste last year and, of course, helped them win the championship. Like, those Rangers boys, I am very excited about, too. So you can throw him in there. Even, you know, I'll even throw out a little bit of a dark horse pick because he's been off to a great start this season. And if he continues to get everyday reps, the Padres might have something there. Jackson Merrill is off to one of the best starts among all prospects in the National League. He's playing center field for them. He's batting over 300 to kick things off. I proposed on Bleacher Report today why the Padres should trade for Luis Robert and basically kind of replace him or put him in the corner, but that's a discussion for another day. Those are some guys that right off the dome I'm thinking of right away that I'm excited about to a degree. But it's more kind of bounce backs or guys that have yet to break out but aren't rookies anymore, like a Brett Baty, for example. Right?
Sure.
Like other guys that, again, that are just trying to find their footing at the major league level. We do see a comment here from Jake Johnson. What do you guys think about the Dodgers Ohtani first home run situation? I actually don't know the deets on that regarding that first home run. What is it? Enlighten me.
So basically, Ohtani hit his first home run as a Dodger. Pretty sure it was at Dodger Stadium. A couple fans caught the ball. It looks like what the Dodgers did was they kind of took advantage of the fact that the fans didn't realize the worth of the ball.
Like what we saw with Aaron Judge in Texas, where it was the complete opposite.
Yeah. And they gave the ball, and I'm pretty sure maybe they got like a signed bat or something. And now the people are kind of like regretting it. Because they've been told like how much the ball is worth.
Of course.
And, like I guess they're kind of like having a regret now. I don't know how to feel about it because it's one of those things where it's like you might have not been knowledgeable enough to make the decision, but you made the decision to give the ball. And
so what's the problem here? Is there pushback to the organization right now with how they went about it, or is there pushback from the people? They're just upset and they realize they kind of messed up.
Yeah, I from what I've seen, I think I saw one TikTok about it. Someone in the chat, correct me if there's more information I'm missing out on. I think it's more so the people are just feeling regret and they think the Dodgers did them dirty. So they're kind of looking for some sort of, I think they want to like meet Ohtani or something like that.
Okay, so they're trying to basically see if they can juice this anything more than what they have, even though that they have no leverage now whatsoever besides crying on social media potentially, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, no, they fucked up. Like, let's just start there. If that's the reality of it, it's unfortunate, but you can't just be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize the ball is potentially worth $500,000 or something.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, like, that sucks, but you kind of snooze, you lose. Like, that reminds me of that Yanks fan that got a bunch of stuff from Judge when he could have gotten a hell of a lot more if he just held on to the ball.
Sold it for $1 million probably.
Oh, 100%. And again, life-changing money for anyone here that we're talking for the most part, right? So I can understand the frustration level. Wait. No, it's the fact that Ohtani lied about meeting her. The wife said she got separated.
What?
Wait. Whoa.
She got separated? Wait. Oh, not like separated. They probably separated her. Like, you know what I mean?
I get it.
I was like, they got divorced over this?
Oh, yeah, it says, from Bleacher Report, literally from my boys at BR. Dodgers fan who caught Shohei Ohtani home run says team pressured her to give up ball. Well, no shit, they pressured.
Yeah.
Like, again, has she not been to a baseball game before? Like, am I missing something? Maybe I am missing something here that, again, from an outsider's point of view, with us only having little information at the time, that's an interesting one. Again, for any baseball fan that goes to games, you should have a level of understanding on if you catch a historic ball in any which way, shape, or form for any record or the first of anything for a significant player, play the leverage game. Like, that's up to you. Make whatever decision you want, but know that the decision you make is a decision you make. There's no backsies. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's an interesting one. Again, it might be worth $100,000. The first Dodger home run ball for Shohei Ohtani if it was in someone's possession as the years go on. And if the Dodgers assumably win championships with Shohei, and that goes down to be a ridiculous contract but worthwhile, that could be one of the more expensive balls in Major League Baseball history, just because it's his first in LA with that $700 million contract. What happened?
Castellanos didn't go yard tonight.
Oh, that's kind of a bummer. That is a bummer. How much?
I had money on him to go.
How
yard.
much?
Not a lot, like $10.
Okay, all right,
would have been 50 though.
Oh, so what was it? Plus 400 or 500?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It kind of felt like a lock.
Kind of felt like. I mean, everyone was tweeting about it. I almost did it just for shits and giggles, but I ended up not. Okay, so the lady felt like she got pressured into trading the ball for jerseys in the back. Okay, I don't know how the Dodgers treated her. Like, I don't know if they kind of put her in a corner. Like,
I doubt they held a gun to her head.
I doubt. I mean? What, in LA? If they were in LA?
Nah.
No, with those gun restrictions, never. How could you? No one has guns in LA. Wardy politics here at the fucking 10:30 p.m. Eastern.
This is bridging the politics. Let's go.
I don't even know if it was in LA though. Like I said, I don't know.
No, it was.
It was in LA. Okay, you're right. Because actually, I'm seeing the photo of him now, and I can see the blue backdrop. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we hit the nail on the head. I wanted this to be a 40-minute show. It's almost $120. Sounds like a day that ends in Y. We haven't done a show in a minute, so I don't mind it being long-winded either. That's going to wrap it, though. Hopefully, we'll be back next week, folks. Be on the lookout. We're trying to be consistent with this, breaking down all the latest in Mets and Yanks land, and, of course, just baseball as a whole here for our New York sports fans. Very excited to break it all down. We've done previous shows, too, which this will be pinned with the Bridging the Gap playlist on the WardyNYM YouTube channel. So if you want to check out some of our previous shows where things got really hectic in the offseason, highly implore you all to do so. Check out the previous content here on the channel. Make sure to check out Pat at Unhinged Patrick on both YouTube, Twitter, all of his socials. He's got TikTok. He's got everything in between. Pat, any final words before we get out of here?
No, I'm just really excited for the rest of the season. I'm really excited to talk to you throughout the season. I love everybody in the chat. Even if you don't love me, I love everybody. And yeah, bro, let's just have ourselves a good damn weekend.
Let's have ourselves a good damn weekend. We'll be back hopefully next Thursday. Until then, have a great rest of your night, evening, whenever you're watching this. That's Patrick Hesse. This is Tyler Ward.